Hello everybody, thank you for being here tonight. We are on week number 1 of our 9-week In.Form transformation journey. Of course, my name is Charlotte Yisrael. I'm your In.Form coach, along with a co-coach back there named Shiree. We'll introduce her in a little bit. I'm also an herbalist, a natural health consultant, and naturopath by all sense of the words, so to speak. And so, of course, I will be primarily leading the next 9 weeks for us in this course. The course generally is a 13-week course, and the clinically studied trial program results that I'm going to be showing you later on tonight are based on 13 weeks, but this one is going to be focused on 9 weeks. One of the reasons I changed it to a 9 weeks is to kind of experiment a little bit. One of the main reasons is because I think sometimes it is a lot for people to kind of wrap themselves around the thought of 13 weeks of doing something, so that was one aspect, because that is a long-term commitment. And the other reason is because I'm ready to start sharing some more advanced information beyond what we're covering in the normal In.Form group. And so we're going to be offering an advanced In.Form class after this 9-week class. So those people who want to continue for the full 13 weeks will still be able to come in, take those advanced courses, still get their BioTracker numbers in, and gain more information above the information that we're going to be sharing in the next 9 weeks. So that's kind of our plan. Going into that, I also want to say that I would like for everybody from here on out, even though it's a 9-week course, I want you to think about things as 1 week at a time. I don't want you to think about, oh, the next 9 weeks, or oh, the next 13 weeks. I want you to really start wrapping your mind around, okay, this week, 1 week at a time. Let's make set goals 1 week at a time. Let's focus just 1 week at a time, opposed to trying to overwhelm ourselves with the next 9 to 13 weeks. So I am going to be reinforcing that a little bit as we go through tonight's modules. Healthy microbiome equals a healthy mind and body. So who here thinks you have a healthy mind? Feels, not thinks, but feels like you have a healthy mind. Okay, who here feels like they have a healthy body? Okay, well, everybody's in the right spot. We're here because this is what we're going to be focusing on. We're going to be focusing on healthy microbiome. And for those of you who've taken this In.Form class before, you know I constantly talk about it, and we're going to continue to talk about it because it is a major source of how we can actually get lifelong results to create a healthier you long term. So next thing I want to do, just introduce some of our In.Form participants. Lynn here has been with us for a year now, right? It's been a year, and so she has been one of my informers that I've been really excited about, because Lynn is a vegetarian, so she's one of the first vegetarians I've worked with on this particular program. And the thing that I really like about Lynn is she's really showed a lot of consistency. From the very first time she took the program, she's continued to make progress even when she wasn't involved in the In.Form classes, and it just continues, and I really like that. So this is Lynn, and then we've got Lynn's husband, Frankie. Frankie's with us as well. So he joined us last fall, and so he's here to repeat with us as well. I've got Christy back over here in the corner. Christy is one of our new informers. I'm very excited about working with Christy. I think there's a lot of things that really fit well for her, and I really appreciate you being here tonight, Christy. Thank you. We've got Sheila up here as well. What's really cool about Sheila, there's several things, but what really comes to mind is she's been with Nature Sunshine 30 years, way longer than me. She's clocked me in, I'm at 20 years, but she's been with Nature Sunshine for 30 years, and one of the reasons I really get excited about that is because, of course, I'm a big fan of Nature Sunshine, obviously, but to have that consistency with somebody who's been with Nature Sunshine to prove the quality and the supplementation line that they do have, it's just really cool to have that available to us here in the Enid area. And, of course, Sheila has been working with herbs and natural remedies for a really super long time. And I think she has a little bit different mindset than maybe most people in her age category have, and I just think that's really, really cool. So thank you, Sheila, for being here. Of course, we've got Shiree back here as well, and Shiree is an In.Form coach. She took our program last spring, and of course, she's got a very long history of personal training, knows a lot about how to work with people specifically with health issues, and maybe physical challenges that they may have, a wealth of information, and Shiree is going to be helping us throughout the next 9 weeks here and there, helping us to understand how important exercise is along with this program. One thing that I feel that I've maybe been weaker at in the aspect of coaching in the last 2 years is not reiterating the importance of exercise and how it goes so hand in hand with nutrition. Of course, I'm going to let her talk to you more about that later on, but that's one of the reasons why I'm excited that Shyrie's here. She can really help us reinforce what kind of benefits we can get when we put all the pieces of the puzzle of IN.Form together. Pam is back here also. Pam was one of my very, very first informers from Rowdy Stick Horse 2 years ago, and so we're excited to have Pam back with us again. And hopefully she'll be hearing some new information as we continue bringing it forth in the program. Jerry Ann's back there on the chair as she waves and nobody can see her. But Jerry Ann is also an IN.Form coach. She was also one of our first IN.Form participants at Rowdy Stick Horse. And the thing that's really I've been excited about having with Jerry Ann is Jerry Ann has a really great understanding of some of the things that are happening in our environment and our foods and all these things that really affect our health from a toxicity level, and just kind of just understanding maybe the background of what's going on that we're not necessarily being shown. And so we've had some good conversations surrounding that, and of course she understands the program, and so she can also be somebody you might want to ask questions of if you've got some questions. We've got George here, and George of course is her husband. George took the program with us last January, and so I'm sure he's here to do more with his health and of course support Jerry Ann, right? So great. So thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it. All right, so as I said, we're going to be doing a 9-week module class, and it's going to be a little bit different. There's a little bit of new information I'm going to be sharing. I'm going to be switching up the modules. We're not necessarily going to be doing them all in order. So there'll be some mix up on that a little bit. And maybe it'd be a little bit quicker as well than normally the 13-week. It kind of takes a couple weeks for everybody to get started. I'm actually going to just be shooting right out the door, and we're going to go ahead and tackle this thing immediately and making sure everybody has a really good start off with this 9-week course. As I go through information, if you have questions for me while I'm going through the information, if you just want to raise your hand and let me know, I'm going to try and take breaks throughout the information to make sure I give everybody the opportunity to answer questions as we're moving through. So, all right, the outline for the class tonight. We're going to talk about our class materials real briefly. We're going to lay the foundation of the whole IN.Form program and how you can get the most out of it. And of course, this is going to be the nutrition aspect. We're going to make sure everybody knows what they should be eating, how often, and how much. We're going to talk about the supplements and how to incorporate those and the importance of the supplements with the particular program. Of course, Shyrie's going to help us cover exercise and make sure we've all got a really good handle on how that will work best for us in our particular scenarios. And of course, the importance of class. Just coming to class, being around people who all kind of have the same idea of wanting to be healthy for whatever reason that is, but being around people who kind of have that same goal really helps us not only to be accountable to each other, but also helps us be more strong in our own programs. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to continue to understand, or I like to say overstand, the importance of the gut microbiome and how we will achieve a healthy balance. We're going to really work on that a little bit more, but just to give you a little hand analogy right now. Most everybody that's sitting in this room, if not all of us, have this many good bacteria in our gut. We have about this many bad bacteria in our gut. Okay? And what happens when we have this many bad bacteria in our gut and these little tiny good bacteria in our gut is we are out of balance. And we're not just out of balance in our gut, we're out of balance in our cardiovascular system, we're out of balance in our thinking, we're out of balance in our moods, we're out of balance in aches and pains, any problems that you may have. And so our whole goal with this program is to feed and proliferate those good bacteria till they get bigger and bigger. And our other goal is to starve and eliminate the bad bacteria. So we change up our balance literally in the gut. And so we're going to be talking a little bit more about that later on tonight. All right, we're also going to talk about diet versus nutrition, how to use our words to invoke our reality. And of course, goal setting is a really big part of this program. We're going to hit the goals a little bit harder than we normally do in this program. And we're also going to be covering the food journal. So just to give you kind of an outline of what we're going to be covering tonight. So first of all, your IN.Form materials Every week when you come, you should be bringing your IN.Form manual right here. So the IN.Form manual will be something that you can bounce back and forth through with me as we go through the program. Of course, at the very beginning of the IN.Form manual, you've got a place here that says your weekly progress log. This is where you're going to be entering your weekly bio-tracker numbers. Of course, every week we'll be doing bio-tracker numbers for everybody who's present. We'll want to be, of course, doing the fast to make sure we get the most accurate results each week. And therefore, this is going to help me individualize and assist you on your goals based on what I see each week. And we can check in on your hydration, I can check in on your protein levels, whatever that may be. So make sure that the numbers that you got tonight for your beginning bio-tracker numbers go under week number 1. Except for you, Christy, you're going to put yours under week number 2 in your book. Okay, so these numbers that you guys got on your checklist that I gave you, you'll put under week number 2. Okay? All right. So besides the manual, you all should have a green folder as well. And of course, the green folder really helps you to keep information together. Any of you who've taken the class, you know I'm a handout queen. I like to give out lots of paper, not because I don't like trees, but just because I like to make sure you've got handed information so that way you can be able to review that later on and have a record of your own. Also, food journals is something that you should have as well. Of course, the food journals are going to help us track each week what we're eating, what we're drinking, making sure that we're following our program, tracking emotions, and we'll talk about that a little bit more later on. But Christy, make sure I get you one. Here, let me just give you this one so I don't forget, because I don't think I gave it to you, right? Okay. All right. If anybody else needs a food journal, let me know after class. All right, so as far as measurements go, we will be doing measurements on week 1, which is tonight, and week 4 and week 8. And if you continue on the advanced series that we do after this, we'll be doing more measurements during that time period as well. Okay, anybody have any questions on the materials before we move forward? All righty, so what we want to talk about next is we want to talk about how the gut is a central force of every body system and every process we have in the body. You can see here from this poster when we talk about metabolic disorder and unhealthy microbiome, all of this is going to relate to the glandular system, the respiratory system, cardiovascular system, hormonal, blood sugar. Everything resides in the gut in of itself. So if you guys want to go to page 2 of your IN.Form participant manuals, does anybody want to borrow one? Pam, did you want to borrow one?
Sure.
Yeah. Anybody else want to borrow one as we go through? All right, okay. So page number 2, we're going to be talking about the gut of the problem. Microorganisms live absolutely everywhere inside and on the topical parts of our body. We actually have live microorganisms that are a living, breathing, eating organism that really assists us in all of our different body functions. The primary amount of those particular microbiome are in our gut, and that's why we're focusing on the gut. But we do have them that live everywhere on our skin, our hands, our eyes, our hair, everywhere, any surface, we have these healthy microbiome. And I'd like to explain them as neighborhoods and or communities. The microbiome, or the good living organisms that live on our body and on the side of our body, are not all the same. There is literally thousands of different types of these microorganisms. And just like we have different communities or different neighborhoods, you have different communities and different neighborhoods of microbiome. So like for instance, the microbiome that grow and proliferate on your cheek are not the same ones that are on your elbow. And they're not the same ones that are in your gut. So it's really important for us to understand that there's many ways to feed all of these different microbiome, and that they don't necessarily function doing the same exact thing. Some are going to help create pH balance. Some are going to help create mucous membrane balances. Some of them, of course, are going to help our gut and help us to actually make hormones. All sorts of different things happen with all these microbiome. And when you think about it in the large scope of things, if you think about how many cells you have in your body, you have 10 microbiome to every one cell. So 10 microbiome to every one cell. So literally, this is our main defense system and our main system and how we function on a daily basis. It's not so much a cellular thing anymore as much as it's a microbial thing now. And so that's what we're focusing on as we move forward. And when we talk about the gut, just so we can make sure our language is clear, when we talk about the good, healthy bacteria that's in the gut, we call them microbiome. So the good, healthy bacteria, the good guys are called microbiome. And then we have the bad bacteria. So when I talk about microbiome, I'm specifically referring to the good, healthy guys, opposed to the bad bacteria that we'll discuss more in a little bit. Something else we need to realize is that we have so much microbiome in our gut, healthy and unhealthy, that literally it can weigh 2 to 6 pounds. So 2 to 6 pounds of microbiome and unhealthy bacteria exist in our gut alone. And that is a tremendous amount and can actually show us the importance of what's going on. Now the thing is, with modern diets, stress, the environmental toxins, all of these things upset the delicate balance of our microbiome. And when we have too many bad bacteria in our gut, they are living, breathing organisms as well. And these organisms, just like any other organism, eat, and they have a release of metabolism. They have an elimination, okay, just from their basic metabolism. And so what that means to us is that means there's a certain amount of toxicity that these bad bacteria are creating just from their very existence alone that is released in the gut. So therefore now not only is it the toxins we eat, the toxins we breathe, and the toxins we drink, but now we have the toxins that literally are released in our gut and not are necessarily a part of us, but are only a part of us because of the bad bacteria that's in our gut. So one of the things that we need to do while we're on this program is we need to really work on eliminating this bad bacteria so we can get rid of that internal toxicity that's taking place. These toxins are called endotoxins. So when you hear me say endotoxins, it's literally toxins that are made inside our body from this bad bacteria. These toxins also cause us to not use our energy efficiently. And then we store them as fat. And of course, over time, these toxins can actually make us fatter. They can actually put weight on us because these toxins are not getting eliminated and they're just surviving just because of the bad bacteria that exists in our gut. All disease begins in the gut. Does anybody remember who said that? All disease begins in the gut. Lynn's got it.
Might be Socrates.
That's close. I had that one last night. You're close. Yep, you got it.
I can't think how to pronounce. Is it Hippocrates?
It's Hippocrates.
Okay.
It's Hippocrates. So over 2,000 years ago, this man who did not have modern medical technology, did not have the Industrial Revolution underneath his belt, was able to understand that all disease in of itself begins in the gut. And that's why we're talking about this, is because literally it does. We are just getting this figured out in our modern technological age that all disease does begin in the gut. But this has been around for a very long time, so I'm sure that that there's some resonance of happiness coming from that, just knowing that, hey, I've been right for over 2,000 years. Now you guys are getting it. All right, so the next thing I want to talk about is healthy bacteria, bad bacteria, and give you a little visual on this. All right, so bad bacteria in our gut. Whoops, he's got a funny eyeball. All right. This is the good bacteria in our gut. Small and tiny. Okay? Now, the bad bacteria feeds on sugars, stress, and general toxicity. That's what these guys feed on. Okay? Our happy guys feed on good, healthy nutrition, such as salads and everything else that's included in the IN.Form program. All right? Vegetables, fruits, things like that. So this is what's happening in our gut. So if you can imagine these guys get a vote in how you're going to feel for the day, how you're going to attack and embrace the day, if you're going to be depressed or excited, if your hormones are going to be in check or not. These guys get to decide your cravings. What do you think is going to happen if your bad bacteria are like this? Probably won't have as good of a day, right? Literally, these guys get the vote. Whoever is biggest and strongest in the gut gets the vote for how your day is going to be and how you're going to even react to the foods and liquids that you drink and the stress that happens around you. So when we think about how most all of our guts have more bad bacteria and they feed on sugar, stress, and toxicity, we feed them almost every single day in one way or the other, if not all three ways. When you crave sugars, you crave that donut, you crave that chocolate cake, you crave whatever it is, it's not you, it's these guys. Because that's what they feed on. That's what they need to proliferate, to survive, is those sugars. They even survive on fruit sugars, which we'll talk more about that in a little while. But any kind of sugar they feed on. When you get stressed, they actually feed on that too. Because when you get stressed, you get acidic in your system. And that will feed them as well. Toxicity from the foods you eat, the air you breathe, the liquids you drink, that toxicity feeds this as well. Now these guys require really healthy, good nutrition. And they also need kind of a mental, emotional balance as well to be fed and kept healthy, because they are very much connected to your brain. Now one of the reasons why when people eat salads and they get a stomach ache, and I've heard this before, I can't eat salads because they give me a stomach ache. The reason being is because most likely that person has so little good bacteria that when they eat a salad, is too much salad. These guys can't eat it up fast enough. They can't utilize the nutrition fast enough, so it literally gives you a gut ache. This also happens when people take probiotics. We've all heard of probiotics, right? Probiotics would be the good bacteria that we're putting in to feed the gut. Some people literally say, well, if I take probiotics, I get a gut ache. Well, the reason being is because the population is so low, these guys aren't happy about it. So they're going to throw a fit. They're going to throw a fit because they're not getting the sugar, but they're getting the salad instead. So this balance here really can show us what happens on a daily basis and the kind of results that we have. So literally, if you eat healthy and you get a gut ache or you don't feel well, what ends up happening to most people is say, oh, I can't eat that. My body doesn't like that. No, the bad bacteria doesn't like it. It's the good bacteria that don't get to have a vote yet because you haven't been feeding it long enough. So I just want you guys to realize as you go through this program, if you have a hard time putting in enough of the good stuff because of the shift that's happening in your gut, think of this analogy. We just need to scale back and work together a little bit more on what we can do. It's not that your body is fighting the program, it's the bad guys. Because anything that's going to be, eliminated and taken out, right, is probably going to put up a fight, wouldn't you think? I mean, do you know any species or any microorganism or any organism whatsoever that doesn't put up a fight? So just keeping that in mind as we move forward. All right. Oh, nutrition, prebiotics, which we're going to talk about this in a little bit. Prebiotics literally are the food for these good guys. And of course, we need to make sure we are feeding them. And we also need to make sure that we are populating them with probiotics so they can get stronger. We need to add to the family, basically. We need to multiply the family of the good guys, the good, healthy microbiome. Anybody have any questions on that? All right.
So when would you take prebiotics versus the pro? Before you eat or after?
It doesn't really matter so much. I mean, obviously, one of the reasons why in the IN.Form program we take probiotics and we do our shake is because the shake, which we're going to talk about more in a little bit, actually has inulin in it, which feeds that good probiotic. So the program in of itself has that built in as long as you're following the supplemental and protein shake side of it. But you constantly want to feed the good bacteria, so it's not necessarily a better time, except maybe when you're putting it in together. There is another product called Bacillus coagulans that we work with through Nature's Sunshine that actually has both in it. And I like that particular product for those people. I'm sorry I'm going on a tangent, but it's a great question. The reason I like the Bacillus coagulans so much is because it has a prebiotic and the probiotic in it. So for those people who have a really hard time with probiotics and these guys are really, really low in population, it helps them get over the hump so they can take a normal probiotic. You know, so there are cases like that as well. Okay, any other questions? So just to show you real quick how right Hippocrates was, just in 2007 were the very, very first studies done on the microbiome. 2007. And you can see here by 2015 we went from 14 studies in 2007 to 2007 studies. This is a very big emerging quote-unquote science, if you will, that's coming out. If you haven't heard in the media or in any kind of medical journals or even just being on Facebook alone, you can hear a lot of people talking and mentioning how important microbiome are. And so this is relatively new, but yet is gaining speed very quickly. But that's one of the cool things about this program, is this program actually has been around for nearly 5 years. It's just been released for about 3 years. And I think that's really cool that we're working with a program that was looking at this over 5 years ago, considering these numbers. All right. So next, let's go to, I think it's page 3 I got. Yep. No, 3 and 4 we're going to go back to later. So let's go to page number 5 in our IN.Form manuals. Number 5. So go with your gut. What will this program do for you? I can tell you this program can do lots of things for you, and we're going to share some of that information. Now, I'm not going to go through everything that's written down here. We are going to be working more on homework and making sure people are reading through their manuals, but I am going to highlight some things real quick for you. So, of course, what this program can do for you, it can lower cholesterol, it can lower blood pressure, it can give you better levels of insulin response. All of these things can happen. Energy, sleep better, more focus, more memory. You can get off meds and drop unhealthy habits. All of these things have been proven and shown to actually happen on this program in of itself. And not just to speak about what's in the book itself, but actual results. Since we've been doing this program for 2 years, for people in the Enid area, these are things, I probably had about 150 people go through the program since the very beginning that I've been teaching this program. And these are the kinds of things that I've been seeing. Energy within 2 weeks. Most everybody tells me within a week they're feeling some kind of an energy boost. The people who generally don't tell me they're not having energy completely is because they're not doing the full program. But I can tell you, if you do the full program from day one, energy will be right there with you very, very soon. Reduce sugar cravings is another big one I hear about. I hear about people who normally have a habit of maybe eating a particular sugary food and then find that they don't crave it or don't really want it as much as they used to. Off meds, we've gotten people off of diabetic meds, cholesterol meds, blood pressure meds, over-the-counter meds such as sleeping aids, allergies, and acid reflux meds. Had a lot of people get off of acid reflux meds over-the-counters just by doing this program alone here in the Enid area. We've had a lot of people lose a lot of inches. You'll notice when I talk about this program, weight is a factor, but it is not the most important factor. In fact, it's probably the factor at the bottom of the list. We are more concerned about inches lost because they are going to correlate better to what's actually going on inside your body. You can be a skinny fat person just as much as you can be a fat person. It is not either way. So we want to be sure we're remembering that inches lost and understanding our metabolic age, our muscle mass, hydration, all of those numbers are important. Vision increasing. I've had people tell me about their vision increasing. I personally have had that happen. In fact, I need to get my eyes checked because I think they've gotten better and things are going on here. Hormonal balancing. I've had girls that are in their younger years, in their 20s, who've been dealing with PMS since they first started, have a balance of better cycles, skin clearing up, just better mood, things like that. Focus, memory, willpower. Those are 3 big things I've seen a lot of people come back to me. I have one particular lady I was hoping she would be here tonight. But she told me at the very beginning of the program, she said to me, I just don't know, I just got so many things going, I just don't know how I can focus, I just don't, you know. And I kind of talked her into it, and I kind of almost felt bad because I felt like I talked her into it, but I got my reward a few weeks into the program because she said, thank you so much, I can focus, I can think better, you know, things are coming back to my memory much quicker. So that is something that definitely can happen with this program. And of course, as I mentioned already, skin clearing up. Even if you don't have acne or any kind of outbreaks, your skin just getting softer, your skin just getting more supple. Things like that are all very